It has been over 660 days since binding contracts have come into the game, and they are still shockingly good and easy RSGP. And the requirements to make money with these items are incredibly low compared to any other method that makes such an absurd amount of money in this game. Whenever you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. To do this method, you're going to need to have completed the Dagon Buy mystery requiring level 68 archaeology. And to get started, you're also going to need at least level 50 summoning to do this method. Now, while you can make money with this method at level 50 summoning, you're going to want to have level 75 summoning at the very least to have some variation in the creatures you can take on. This is just to future-proof the method for yourself. With level 50 summoning, you can get started though. What this method involves is using binding contracts to capture the souls of various monsters in the game and then selling those pouches on the Grand Exchange. These binding contracts can be created using 200 spirit shards, 1 blue charm, 1 regular summoning pouch, 2 blood of Orcus, and 2 hellfire metal. Currently the price for 1 binding contract is around 36k. Now, it's no secret that this video will probably influence the price of these items temporarily, although that being said, in the future, if you ever want to check out how much money you can make per pouch, use the wiki link in the description below. If you don't have a beast of burden, you can make around 840 of these binding contracts per hour at Perfidinous, running back and forth using this bank. If you're using a pack yak, you can get near 13 to 1400, and with a tuned crystal teleport seed you'll be able to get even more. But the absolute best way of making these binding contracts very quickly is by using the Tavli summoning shop and selling around 100 to 200 noted blood of Orcus and hellfire metal at a time, and then buying them back from the shop, making 5 binding contracts and repeating the process. It is worth noting that your items are in an instant shop, so no one else can actually buy them and they're completely safe to sell. That being said, after a certain point in time they slowly start to despawn, but as long as you sell around 100 to 200 at a time, this will not be an issue. This will allow you to easily make over 2,300 binding contracts per hour, saving you a ton of time running back and forth between the bank. It's also worth noting that these items are stackable in your inventory, so even though you do see a portable bank box on screen, this is absolutely not necessary to create these binding contracts. Keep that in mind. Now, what does this method actually consist of? Well, the simple answer is you bring these binding contracts along if you're killing a certain type of monster, and you bring along magic notepaper to note them in your inventory so you can keep killing that creature. Every time you kill one of the following creatures on screen and you have a binding contract in your inventory and enough inventory space, you will get a binding contract of that particular creature in your inventory. Let's take Blood Reavers as an example, as these are currently the second best binding contract to do for profit per hour. Now, these only require level 73 summoning, but you also require the Shard of Zaros, which can easily be obtained by completing the Fate of the Gods quest, which doesn't have many pre-required quests at all. The only quest I believe is Missing Presumed Death. Now, I was able to net a pouch per hour rate of 650 Blood Reaver pouches per hour, or about 35 million GP. If I take the time taken to create these binding contracts into the equation, I was still making 27 million GP per hour from these binding contracts. That's more than the majority of the bosses in this game. And very important, it's consistent money, meaning as long as the prices stay the same, you will make that amount of money every single hour you're here. Obviously, after this video, it might be a little bit, fluctuated for a few days, maybe a week or two, but eventually, it will be a normal, consistent moneymaker as soon as people get bored from it, because using binding contracts is incredibly boring. Killing Blood Reavers is not very enjoyable, guys, but it is big boy money, and very consistently. Now, while Blood Reavers and Ripper Demons for that matter have a huge amount of demand because these pouches are used every single day in the game, you gotta watch out with some of the lesser known or lesser used pouches like Hellhound pouches. You really want to watch out and sell a few of these pouches before making thousands and thousands of them, because chances are some of these pouches simply won't sell for the price or profit you're expecting per pouch. I'm saying this because prices, without a doubt, will always be changing, so just keep an eye on that and you're good to go. Anyways, let's cover how much money you can expect to make using these binding contracts. On the number 1 spot, we have Ripper Demons, where you can make 31.2 million GP per hour, including the time taken to create these binding contracts. So that's a real profit per hour you'll be making. using binding contracts at Ripper Demons with the Blood Barrage method, which I do have a guide for linked in the description below. Blood Reavers in the second spot will make you 27 million GP per hour, and Gargoyles currently, and they were selling for that price by the way, they actually sold, are 17 million GP per hour. That is wild. Calgarian Demons can net you 12 million GP per hour extra using binding contracts in your personal Slayer dungeon, although personally I would just avoid these. Now Water Fiends will always be in demand, and the GP per hour really depends on how many kills you can get per hour. You can get a ton if you try hard in the Ancient Caverns, but you can also get quite a lot in your personal Slayer dungeon or just casually killing them. Let's say 300 kills per hour, it's still a good amount of money you're making extra. As for Hellhounds and Abyssal Demons, I would try and avoid using binding contracts there unless you want to squeeze out a little bit of profit, because I'm not sure if you'll be able to sell these binding contracts on the Grand Exchange. And with that being said, we've come to the end of this video. I hope you guys found this video useful, and if you did, leave a like down below and maybe even consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.